according to my screen and according to YouTube. I'm just going to fix my bangs while, yeah, I'm not really waiting for anyone, but I think this is okay. All right, so I'm just going to be continuing on with my Read With Me series in this YouTube channel. So, what I'm going to be posting in my podcast would be just the overall thoughts and maybe the idea, the sequence of events from chapter 16 up to, I don't know, maybe up to 26. So at least we have 10 chapters, and I think that will be a good grasp of what is already happening in the novel. So I hope that you will be enjoying this. This is Talker Thought by Katsuragi, and the Read With Me series, The White is for Magic by Laurie Stars. And this book, again, for those of you who are new to this novel, this is a mystery novel with a little bit of, maybe I think, romance, but I don't think that is the focus of this um novel. This is really more of like the mysteries of the, let me just fix my camera. Really more of like the mystery of witchcraft, and this is my first time reading anything witchcraft related. I know back when we were young there was a lot of TV series related to this. I think I forgot the name where Selena Gomez is casted. So I'm sorry about that. And I'm also sorry that my lighting is not really good. But in any case, it's already 2 minutes in. He'll just start with chapter 19. I fumble with my keys at the door of our dorm, trying my hardest to get my fingers to work right, to put my mind scrambling events of the last 20 minutes far, far behind me. What I need right now is to talk to Chad, to tell him we were stupid to fight on the phone, to recommend that we spend some serious makeup time together. So, what that he didn't call earlier? So, what that he didn't call earlier? He was probably busy with his teammates. Maybe he was even thinking that I needed space. I probably did. I just hope he didn't call while I was out because I'm not so sure I can handle lying again tonight, especially to him. After several attempts, the lock finally clicks and I'm in. I charge my way through the lobby and into the common room, and there he is, sitting on the vinyl couch, a bouquet of wildflowers clenched in his hand, like the perfect boyfriend that he is. Look who decided to drop by, he says, standing up. But instead of saying anything, I just run into his arms, melodramatic style, like right out of one of those old black and white movies. The kind where they play lots of orchestral music and the girls wear long, sweepy dresses. Chad hugs me back. His arms encircle my waist, the plastic wrap on the bouquet crinkles against my back. I peer over his shoulder at Treya, sitting on the edge of the couch, the corners of her mouth turned slightly downward. Hi, Dre. I take a slight step back from Chad, but still I keep a hand pressed against his shoulder. She smiles a hello, but then looks away. So, where have you been? He hands me the bouquet of wildflowers. I've been waiting for you. Oh, really? I ask, looking at Drea, wondering how long he's been waiting, how long he and Drea have spent together. Yeah, Chad says. But it's no big deal. Me and Drea were just talking about old times. He laughs and looks at Drea, who shares his smile. Old times? Like stuff that happened last year? I ask. God, no, Drea says. Good old times. Like stuff from grade school, funny stuff? Yeah, Chad says. He proceeds to tell me some story about a middle school field trip to the zoo and how an elephant squirted Drea with a trunk full of water. Apparently, the water got all over her chest and she was only wearing a thin pink t shirt. And so their ever ready teacher pulled his old lady blouse from her bag of emergency supplies, a blouse with a giant 70s collar, ruffles at the wrists, and pastel zoo animals patterned across the polyester fabric. She made a mortified preteen fashion savvy Drea wear it for the remainder of the trip. Dre and Chad laugh at the story like it's the funniest thing ever, but all I'm thinking is how it really isn't that funny at all. Well, I'm sorry you had to wait all this time, I say to Chad, putting a blunt end to their ugly blouse story. We didn't have plans tonight, did we? No, he says. It's no big deal. I just thought I'd catch you. You're usually in your room by now. I look at the clock, 11:10 after dorm curfew. Oh my god. Where's Keegan? Relax, Drea says. Where is she? Sleeping. Drea gets up and pulls at the length of her flannel pajama shorts. Hiked up, I imagine for Chad's benefit. Pulled back down. I'm sure for mine, she had a headache and went to bed early. I'm starting to feel as much of a headache coming over me as well. I rub at the ache in my temples and notice how dirty my fingers are from the spell. I wipe them as discreetly as possible in my pants, keeping an eye on Jaya's nauseating perfect copper tone legs as she walks back to our room and closes the door behind her. Were you at the library tonight? Chad turns to me. I was just out walking, I say, tucking my hair behind my ears so he doesn't notice the missing chunk. Walking? Yeah, I went to look at the moon. Alone? He asks. I nod. I did, after all, go there by myself. Oh, what's the big deal? No big deal, he says. I guess I'm just surprised, that's all. You've been sort of acting on edge lately. I think you'd be leery to go anywhere alone. Weren't you the one who said I needed to put the past behind me and get on with my life? I feel myself getting peeved all over again, and I can hear it in my voice. I didn't say it like that, Stacy. And if that's the way it sounded, I'm sorry. I am just worried about you. I know, I say, taking a deep breath. Can we just start over? From where? He asks. The hug? I hold up my arms and Chad wraps me up, relieved. I think that I'm choosing to keep things in the land of light, where relationships are easy and uncomplicated, where the grave and serious don't have a place. Much better. He leans slightly back and moves in for a kiss. And so do I, except I end up tilting my head the wrong way and the kiss lands beside my left nostril. Chad smiles and squeezes me tighter. I suppose he's right about keeping things simple. This feels so much better, so much easier, the way relationships are supposed to be. All wildflowers and cuddly hugs. Maybe that's what I need right now. I hate to go, Chad says, breaking the embrace, but I probably should, just in case Keegan gets up. We should make plans for tomorrow night, I say. Something fun. Maybe we should get something to eat off campus or go to a movie? Definitely, he says. I'll call you? No, I say. Let's make definite plans. No more waiting around for phone calls. Okay, he says. How about I drop by here after hockey practice. What time? 8:30? How about 9, I say. I'm working on this group project for bio. Okay, he smiles. It's a date. We spend the next 5 minutes or so kissing goodbye on the couch, trying to ignore the squeaky sounds of the vinyl as our bodies rub and twist again against it. It feels so nice to be this close to him, enfolded in his arms, lip to lip, breath to breath, like normal. Like normal when normal have has seemed so far away. I lay my head against his chest and think how great it would be if we could stay like this all night. But we can't, which is why Chad leaves a few moments later. I walk him to the door, reminding him about our date for tomorrow night, and then retreat back to the room, relieved that everything is finally back the way it should be between us. And that is chapter 19. I almost say episode again, but why do I don't need to say it, but yeah, that is the ending for the chapter 19, and at least we're seeing something light and bright in this novel, because since the beginning it was really difficult, and you can actually feel that it was difficult for Stacy since she began dreaming about this stuff, because no one understands her. The only problem here is that no one is still understanding her, and she is just shoving all of this problem underneath a pillow or so, because she wants everything to be simple and comfortable, when in fact it wasn't just as simple as that. And she knows for sure that she can just ignore this type of dreams, especially now that we have known about Jacob, from the previous chapter. If you haven't heard, if you haven't listened to my previous video, it is quite a difficult story. I mean, it is quite a difficult situation for her, that she has to act normal as any other normal teens, or even any other normal women should. But unfortunately, it's not that way. Although she feels like this very light heart, she felt lighthearted doing this, but unfortunately, it was not as simple as that. Because one thing, the nightmares is still there. The questions is still unanswered until she has a talk with Jacob, who has been bothering her with emails as well as this note, and also, yeah, and so on and so forth. So, and I like how they are quite mature. To be honest, Chad and Stacy, as the way I am seeing this, and even Drea, I think, they're handling this as like an adult, like adults, like in the relationship where Stacy was being really down. I think Chad understood. It's just that he doesn't know how to handle this type of problem, especially the issues about the witchcraft and the dreams about dead people. He doesn't know how to handle it, so it's better to just. I mean, he's handling it the way he would handle it himself, not really in the shoes of Stacy. But Stacy, on the other hand, she feels really guilty since she's not as normal as the others would be, and that's how everyone is making her feel. But she is doing active solutions to their problems, to the problems in their relationship. She is trying not to be too difficult. She's also trying to understand how Chad feels, and hopefully Chad also do the same, or does the same for her in this situation. And hopefully in the next chapter we'll know about this. It's just that I am feeling, so let's just have a little bit of like a guessing game here. In the next few chapters, maybe we'll see that although she's trying to shove it off, it's still, I mean, throwing all of your problems under the rug won't solve it. It won't just disappear. Maybe she'll have another dream, and that would push her to still meet up with Jacob. Of course, she still thinks that she is going to meet up with Jacob. That's why she pushed the date to 8:30 or 9 ish, so that they would have like this time to talk with Jacob. All right, so let's move on to episode 20, chapter 20. Dre and Amber are still in the bed when I wake up the following morning. I roll over to glance at the bouquet of wildflowers Shad gave me, now in a vase with pine needles I grabbed last night. I smile at it, at the thought of him coming by to surprise me like that. I pull on my pair of fuzzy peach slippers and stumble out to the pantry for the requisite cup of instant coffee. Barely drinkable, but it does the trick. It's absolutely morgue silent. All the doors of the other rooms are closed, as if everyone decided to sleep in, as if classes are cancelled for the day. I pop a couple slices of bread into the toaster and look out the window toward the parking lot. But everything appears normal. No devastating blizzards to render as all housebound. So, where is everybody? I decided to use their laziness to my full advantage. I gulped down my toast and coffee, grabbed my shower supplies, and I'm the first person into the bathroom, making me also one of the few who will actually get to shower hot water this morning. A rare and delicious treat. Back in the room, I suit up into my Hillcrest uniform, dab a bit of patchouli oil behind my ear and at the front of my neck, and grab my books. Dry and Amber is still asleep, the covers pulled up over their ears like they don't want to be disturbed. But instead of honoring their silent request, I snap the window shades open, allowing a surprisingly bright November sun to shine into the room. Rise and shine, I say. Still no deal. They both look about as rise and shining as flatbread. So maybe I'll have to resort to force. I trot right over to their banks and shake each of them. Get up, I say. You're going to be late. I take another look at my watch. It's 7:45, just a half hour before the first period attendance bell. Mental health day, Amber slurs, rolling over to avoid me. I'm not going either, Drea says, following suit. Fine. I don't have time to argue unless I want to be late as well. I zip up my coat, pass through the lobby, and make my way out of the front door. That's when I see it, the banner. About 20 feet in length, stretched out across the two cypress trees in front of our dorm as though just waiting for me. A swarm of students stands around it. They share They shake their heads and cover their mouths. Corey and some friends of his, Keegan, Emma, all the girls from our dorm, Mr. Leiter, Mr. Gunther, Mrs. Halligan, one of the school custodians, even Donna Tillings. She's dressed in black. From the bow-like hat with the net that comes down to cover her face to the thick black stockings and square-toed shoes. She looks like she's crying. A smallish bouquet of wildflowers clutched in her hands. They all just stand there, looking at the message and then at me, waiting for my reaction. But how can I react when I don't even know what to do? When my mind won't accept what it says or what this means, I slowly begin my descent down the dorm stairs, focusing on their faces instead of the words. As though this isn't real, as though the message will change when I reach the bottom. But it doesn't. I look at it once more. The words string together, the message becoming clear. In less than 1 week, Stacy in all caps, Stacy Brown, you'll be begging to die. I feel a knot in my throat, cutting off my breath. A razor edge slowly slices down my spine. I take a few steps closer toward the banner, my legs like twigs, ready to snap off beneath me. Stacy? It's him, the guy from the woods. the one who gave me the crystal. He approaches me from the back of the crowd, a shimmery pearl colored stripe drawn down the side of his face and those light blue eyes, like melted candle wax, burning right in front of me. He uncurls his fist and places a wad of folded paper in the center of my palm. The mash game. I look down at it, but now it's an origami snake. He closes my hand around it and look at me for some response, but I can't speak, can't breathe, and I want to be sick. There's a cold and sticky feeling all around me in my mouth, clogging up my throat. He leans into my ear and whispers, I know how you'll be spending your anniversary. I open my mouth to scream, feel myself sit up, feel the vomit spew out my mouth. Stacy! Drea, sa- Drea shouts, rushing out from her bed covers. What happened? Amber jumps down from the top bunk. But I don't even need to say anything. The answer is dripping down the dresser mirror in the form of ABC, bean burrito, mixed with long grain wild rice, the cafeteria's idea of authentic Mexican cuisine. It slides down over the reflection of my face, right in front of me. And so that is right after I said it, this is a light episode. I mean, the chapter was light for episode 19, but 20, we're back at it again with all the nightmares. And yes, I guessed it correctly that this is a nightmare. It can't be too easy for her, especially that she is like describing how it was the first time that this happens and so on. Like, it is not the normal day. So I am having doubts that that is actually the reality. So I am thinking that that's actually a dream. And let's go back to the message. The message that she saw in her dream was in less than 1 week. And previously, she also dreamt in the yoga class that she will she will do her promise in a week. And now that we progress through time, now it is less than a week. So we're still following the same timeline from the dream and her reality. I don't know if I wanted to read the next one. Let's see how many pages for the 21, but hopefully not too many. Alright, so I just swallowed myself, but in chapter 21, there is another, the banner was again the same. It was mentioned again. So maybe this time around that is going to be the real scenario, or hopefully it's not. It was quite difficult. I think it is going an intense route here now that we are in the middle of the novel. So Laurie, you are getting us. Anyway, Laurie is the author. But let us just continue on with. Sorry, I can keep this fit in my ear. But here we go. Hopefully that hopefully that is better before I start. Okay, so let's just read the chapter 21. I wipe my mouth, flip the bed covers and away, and head for the door. Amber and Drea yell out after me, but I have to see for myself. I turn the knob of the main door and run out into the frosty November morning. But it's just like normal. No banner, no swarm of students collected around it, just me, even though it felt so real. What's going on? Drea asks. She and Amber's she and Amber are standing beside me now on the top step. Drea, tying the belt of her robe, Amber fully outfitted in adult size Wonder Woman pajamas. What do you think's going on? Amber asks her. Didn't you catch the exorcist poo on the mirror? She's wigging again. Nightmares, right? I nod. Lucky for us, our beds aren't in front of yours, Amber says. Very funny, I say. Oh, come on, Amber says, wigging a wedge. We have to look on the bright side of the situation. What's going on? Says a voice from behind us. Are girls alright? It's Keegan. She's standing in the doorway. I thought I heard an elephant stampede through the common room. Is that your way of telling us we need to lose a few? Amber cinches her gold belt. It's my way of asking what's going on, she says. Just just getting some air, Drea says. Yup, Amber agrees. A little H2O for my old windpipes. Don't tell me I didn't learn a couple of things in physics class last year. Don't you mean bio-I? Drea corrects. Whatever Amber says. They're practically the same class. We should go back in, I say. I brush past Keegan only to find more nosy spectators. Trish, Caboni, Snotrag, Emma, and some of the other girls on the floor. Is everything okay? Trish asks. She is pulling all her curlicues. I don't know what that is. To give them height and failing to notice the one flat pillow impression on the back of her head. Yeah, that is it. Fine, I say. Just checking the temperature. It's a ridiculous lie that actually seems to work. Except for Trish and Emma, all the other girls, including Keegan, return to their rooms to savor the few last minutes of sleep before classes. We missed you at the chapel service last night, Trisha says, not budging from her spot just inches from my face. I nod an acknowledgement. But they're keeping the chapel open all week, she continues. Just in case you wanted to stop by, in case you needed some place to go. She looks back and forth, Drea and me. Right now, I need to get ready for school, I say. I can't afford any more detentions. Emma smiles at us between nose blows, perhaps sensing her roommate's gift of gift giving. Amber, Dry, and I are just about to file back into our room when I hear a male voice behind me. I whirl around to find Corey and one of his clone friends. Sneakers in hand, Corey hugs Emma goodbye while the clone friend gives Trish a smooch on the cheek. Geek boy? Amber shouts. Corey stops and looks back at us. You didn't see anything, okay? The hell we didn't. Treya folds her arms across her chest. For our information, we slept on the floor, the clone friend says. We were just cramming for an English exam together. Where do I know you from? Amber asks him. I don't know, Clone Boy smiles, his left eye twitching. I've been known to get around. He scratches at the scruff of honey blonde hair on his head and winks at Amber, shooting her with an imaginary pistol. Wait, Amber takes a step out toward him. You're the guy from the mailroom, the one who asked me how I'd be spending the anniversary. I really don't remember. He cocks his head to the side, feigning bewilderment. You guys should really get going, Trisha says, gesturing for Corey and Cloney to leave. Our RD is gonna come out here any second. Fine, the clone says. We're leaving. He looks up at us. It was fine. It was nice finally meeting you, ladies. What do you mean, finally? I ask. It's just that I've heard so much about all of you. Let me guess, Amber says. You're one of the ghost groupies newbies recruits. Ghost groupies? Yeah, Amber nods. That's what I like to call the people around here who can't get any live action, so they go looking for the dead. Who says I can get live action? Clony Boy asks, glancing at Trish. If the casket fits, Amber says. Let's go, Drea says, tugging at Amber's arm. Amber pulls away. What's her name? Hmm, Clone Boy says, rubbing at his frizz head. That's a tough one. At that, he and Corey starts laughing. Stupid, illogical, private choked laughter. Like an instant replay of yesterday in computer class. Trish laughs along as well, but she's still trying to scoot them out. Incidentally, Clone says, when he can finally contain himself. How are you girls spending your anniversary? Keegan! Drea shouts, causing them to boot it out the door once and for all. Keegan emerges from her room. What? What is it? She asks. Emma looks at us, her face at least 5 shades paler than a few moments ago. She conceals her obvious nervousness with a handful of tissues. Nothing, I say, figuring I'm no one to squeal about boyfriends stopping by at the wrong time. Keegan doesn't say anything else, and neither do we. We just go back into our room and lock the door behind us. So gross, Amber says, referring to the puke on the mirror. She moves toward it for a closer look. Did you have mallow Mars last night? Let's not analyze the heave, Drea says. Let's just get it out of here. Stacy, do you need some Windex? But I'm too busy focusing on what's sitting on my bed. A handheld tape player and an envelope. Stacy, Drea repeats. The envelope has my name typed on the front, but it wasn't mailed, and there's no return address. What's that? Drea asks. How did that get in here? I take the envelope with trembling hands, the vibrations prickling over my skin just as real and cold and permitting as the last time. Are you okay? Drea asks. I shake my head, but rip the letter open anyway. There's something folded up inside. I take it out. An origami snake. That's weird, Amber says. The origami snake present in my palm. I feel a cold, burning sensation drift up my arms, making my hands tremble. I dreamt it, I say. I felt it, folding paper. In the common room, the last letter, I folded paper. What do you mean? Drea says. Drea wraps an arm around my shoulder. I shake my head. I know I'm not making any sense. Look, Amber says, picking up the tape player. There's a cassette inside. Should we play it? My head is spinning so fast I don't even answer. I unfold the flaps of paper, doing my best to concentrate on the action, to sense the message inside. At the same time, Amber pushes the play button and static filled music filters into the room. Oh my god, I say, recognizing the tune. Miss Mary Mac, 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 a child's voice sing from the player. All dressed in black, black, black. She has all but buttons, buttons, buttons. So on. Shut it off, I shout. Now! Drea complies. It's the real version, Amber says. He's doing this. My hand trembles over my mouth. Drea plucks the half unfolded origami snakes from my hand and helps me sit down on the bed. It's going to be all right. She pushes my hair back off my face, pausing a moment at the shorter chunk at the side where I cut. How do you know? I snap. She takes a deep breath and finishes unfolding. until the once tiny origami snake is now a full blown letter with tears and creases. What is it? I ask. What does it say? Drea cups a hand over her mouth, following the letter to drop her lap. I pick it up. The words stare up at me from the middle of the page. In less than 1 week, Stacy Brown, you'll be begging to die. And again, that is the ending scene of chapter 21, which is this is now a fast facing one. I mean, a fast pacing one. Because from the previous chapters back when we are starting, maybe because we are just developing the characters and all, but now most of my questions are being answered every chapter. And that is a good sign for me. That means I'm getting into the story and I'm getting what the author was actually wanting me to think about. And quite unfortunately, now the story is on its climax, I think, because Jacob is still not an evident player in this novel. Maybe he's going to come out and maybe in the next few chapters, now that we are having these signs that is definitely going after Stacy instead of going another person, because previously, as what I have known from reading the story, because again this is a trilogy and we have previous novels about what happened, about who were the first few victims and the others were not saved. As for Stacy, I mean Andrea, she was saved by Stacy last year, and that was the prequel. And this is like kind of like the sequel of the story where she is having another dream, but it is quite uncommon but it is quite different because now this time around it is dead people, and that means they are going after Stacy, and now it is becoming more apparent that Stacy is being targeted by whoever that is, and Jacob would possibly be of help to save her. And since she's the main character in here, maybe she's going to be saved, hopefully. So that it's not going to be a very, I hope this is not going to be a traumatic novel. So I think I will just be ending today's session here, today's episode in this live podcast. Episode 22 in the next few days, maybe soon. I don't know, but hopefully we can get through this before the year ends. We only have a few chapters, I think. Blue is for nightmares. Here you go. It was not blue is for magic. I told you the last episode that the previews or one of the other novels was blue is for magic. I'm just making that up, but that is blue is for nightmares. Here you go. If you can see it. Yeah. Okay, so we only have episode chapter 45. So we're halfway, almost halfway the novel, and it's just on a steady pace. I don't know, but I'm almost lying down. But thank you everyone for listening to this. If you happen to listen to this video and maybe hopefully also watch it, um, I hope you find this interesting, and maybe leave a comment if you are able to watch it till the end, or at least just this portion of the video. Give me any suggestions how you would like to read your favorite novels, maybe online, because sometimes I do feel like, I mean, I created the Read With Me series because there were times that I feel too lazy to actually read the novel, and so I just wanted to listen to it because I wanted to do something else while I am actually actively listening to the novel. Since if you are holding the book. Although it's still very different holding the book and also smelling the pages. It's cool. It's one of the best um, experiences when you are a reader. But if life is there, I mean, you are doing some other things. Especially, I am also working, so it is quite difficult to find time to read books at indefinite hour. And so I search if there are some people who is actually doing the read with me, and I guess correctly there are a few channels out there doing some read with me, and also they also have this in their video, like um the actual novel. I just don't know if that is actually allowed, because this is still a copyrighted material. And as much as I am also reading this, I am having like a quite of a reaction every now and then with each of the chapters that I read. And so at least you felt like you're reading it with someone. And I think that is going to be a different experience, right? Because so back before, this is kind of like a story time. I'll do a separate video story time how I read it, but just a brief story. Before, when I get into reading, I really like how we are sharing thoughts and ideas. I mean, you are asking your friends like, "What chapter are you on? Do you know that this part already happened? Like, has Jacob appeared?" So on and so forth. So I think that was really. This is a good concept, as I just don't know how to actually just put it out there to be as um what do you call this, as relatable as possible. And I don't know how to reach people using this platform, but if you ever happen to be in this video, then that means at least there are quite a few people who is actually interested in this novel and their read with me concept in general. So I think that is it for tonight, and thank you again for listening to this podcast, and I'll just be hearing you all and seeing you all again next time.